Hello, good afternoon. This is the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra, Love 99.5 in Kumasi, affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Jubilee Radio Keta, Sun City Radio Keta, Saboba FM Saboba, and A1 Radio Bolgatanga. We are live on Twitter Spaces, Facebook live stream, and my Joy Online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. Coming up, trial of Asin North MP James Jachikwason to proceed as High Court rules there is no order from any superior court stopping it from hearing the matter. We have details also. Parliament struggles to get MPs on the floor as minority boycott sitting for the third time as government business continues to suffer. We have details. And Member of Parliament for Tamale North Al-Hassan Suhini attracts the fury of the Lansah Natural Resources Committee chairman for going public with comments made by the Chief Director at the Lands Ministry alleging the entity relies on land guards to protect public lands.
If anything is in a report that people don't understand, they can file for a question. But you don't take any information from our committee work to the press. It's a complete betrayal.
Meanwhile, the unfazed Deputy Ranking Member Suhini insists on filing an urgent question to get the Minister to answer on the Director's claims on the floor.
I have breached nothing. There's nothing in our standing orders that says that one cannot speak about happening on the committee before the committee finishes this report. I have personally filed an urgent question in Parliament for the Minister to brief the nation.
Also on the Midday News today, 3 vehicles belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana stolen at gunpoint in the Ashanti region under strange circumstances as the ECG gives up on retrieving them.
It was taken from the person at gunpoint.
All the 3 at gunpoint?
Yes.
That must be a very, very big coincidence. At the same time?
At different times, not at the same time, not all at the same
time.
But
none of the drivers were hurt?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Very interesting.
Details in a moment. Also, the Bank of Ghana takes a major financial hit in the domestic debt exchange program.
Can confirm that we will make a significant loss in 2022.
Significant loss?
Significant loss.
We will be live at the Public Accounts Committee hearing for more on these revelations. And in sports,
Ghana's Black Queens chase 2024 Olympics qualification as they face Guinea today. Plus, there's fresh trouble brewing at Asante Kotoko. Details later. And in our Floods of Trauma series today, we'll hear how the fire service in the Ashanti region has rescued 280 people from floods in 1 month alone. This is Joy News. Thanks for choosing us. Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. I'm Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. Thanks for your company. Let's start from Parliament. Now, that's the sound of a bell going off in Parliament calling MPs to come to the floor for business. The bell tolled for more than an hour, but attendance on the floor, especially on the majority side, was still considerably low. The NDC minority is boycotting sitting today, as well as the trial of their colleague Jachikwason continues. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with details. Kweku, has sitting started now, and what's the attendance in the House?
Well, sitting started a little about 45 minutes ago. There are about 25 NPP MPs on the floor. Ordinarily, if you look at the standing orders of Parliament, that is not enough for Parliament to be able to do business because the quorum for ordinary business in the House is checked at 1/3 of all MPs. That is 92. But regardless, MPs are proceeding to do business. So sitting has started, like you said, the bell tolled since about 10 o'clock till about 11:30 before they got some sizable numbers in the chamber to be able to continue doing business. And so business is currently underway in the House.
And Kweku, what's today's itinerary?
So there were a number of key questions standing in the name of NDC MPs to the Health Minister, to the Agric Minister. The Health Minister has not come to the floor yet, but the Agric Minister has been here. There has also been a number of key bills that government has put before Parliament, awaiting consideration and approval. All that is still hanging. But you know that a buffer stock company the caterers, the suppliers had been picketing at the buffer stock for a while now. The minister himself was expected to be on the floor to answer questions, to deliver a statement on what they are doing. I'm sure that is something that you are going to get to. But these are some of the key business that the House had been considering, and the expectation was that both sides of the aisle will come in for some key business to be done. But as we know now, all 137 NDC MPs have boycotted proceedings in the chamber, as with in terms of the majority side, just about 25 of them are currently on the floor of the House.
All the other questions are advertised in various names of our colleagues in the minority, and they have elected not to be present. So that the Parliament of this Republic cannot wait for them. And hence, as often been the practice, want to appeal to you that the answers to these questions be published, except for question 1405, which stands in the name of the Honorable Vincent First Speaker Tioli.
So you heard Frank Anodompré there. He's a majority chief whip in Parliament. So, Kweku, on the previous occasions the minority boycotted sitting, the House was forced to adjourn. Do we have any indication that business will proceed as usual today?
Well, it appears today the majority side are hell-bent on going ahead with business, because so far they've done a number of the key businesses. For instance, the Agric Minister has come to respond to questions, and he has also delivered a statement regarding the buffer stock suppliers debt that is owed. They've also been a number of statements. Ordinarily, when the minority have boycotted the House, there would have been an adjournment already by now, but the House is proceeding. We expect that is going to go ahead. They're going to continue to consider bills. We don't know if the numbers in the House will bolster them to continue or be forced to take an adjournment, because, like I said, ordinarily, the House currently do not have quorum to be able to proceed. But the business in the House would normally proceed if no one is on the floor to raise an issue of quorum. And so that is expected to continue for maybe 2 o'clock when the House may take an adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, since 2017, Buffer Stock has done big business with the suppliers to the tune of 2.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, Buffer Stock has made payments in respect of 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 in full. Mr. Speaker, in 2022, of the 726,617,881 Ghana cedis, 500 million cedis has been paid to the suppliers.
So that's the Agric Minister, Brian Ichampong, updating the House on monies paid to the buffer stock company for the suppliers they owe. So let me now bring you the latest on Mr. Jachikwesin's case. As you may be aware, that's the reason the minority is boycotting sittings. Asin North MP James Jachikwesin has failed once again to put his criminal trial on hold. The High Court has ruled that nothing stops it from proceeding with the case despite multiple legal processes filed at the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. The legislator is standing trial for allegedly committing offences including perjury and forgery. The court had earlier indicated it will hold its hearing on a day-to-day basis. Mr. Kwesin has since been pushing to set this aside, but his quest has failed once more. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable is live, he'll be joining us shortly to give us some updates. He's on court for us. Hello, Joseph. If you can hear me, what justification did the court give for its decision? Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Bernice.
Great. Can you hear me now? What justification did the court give for its decision?
And so the court did indicate that as far as it is concerned, there is currently no order from any court above it that bars it from proceeding with the case. It makes the point that in terms of what is available for it, it has nothing stopping it from going ahead with the case, for which reason it is going ahead. It did indicate that there are some exceptional circumstances where a court may decide to put its case on hold. But in this particular instances, the arguments were not canvassed in a manner that convinced this to put the matter on hold, and so it is proceeding to hear this particular matter then.
Right, and bring us up to speed on the cross-examination of the state's first witness.
In fact, very interesting processes so far. Richard Tekimenson is the one who is testifying. He is the individual who filed the criminal complaint at the police CID, asking that it investigates James Jachikwesin. The question has centered around whether he authored that particular complaint that he sent to the CID. He told the court that yes, he did. He was asked whether he wrote it in English, at which point he said yes, he did. Subsequently, a statement was provided from the police indicating that the police had captured the records are showing that he had provided a said statement in Twi and was recorded in English. And so for lawyers of Mr. Kwesi who have been engaging us after proceedings, they say that the evidence today shows clearly that the witness of the state is not telling the truth to the court, Bernice.
Right, and we'll be going back to parliamentary related news shortly, but let's stay a little longer in the court. The Tamale High Court is asking the Chief Justice to investigate the conduct of a registrar of the court, Mohammed Musa, for signing and stamping documents certifying inaccurate court proceedings. This conclusion was reached by the court in a dispute over the possible sale of the house to defray debt. The court had previously ruled in favor of one party, but the other pointed out to the court that it had relied on inaccurate information. The judge therefore invited the registrar to clarify the matter, only to discover the unsigned documents were rather accurate and the documents signed by the registrar were not a true representation of the state of affairs. Once again, Joseph Akablay to explain further to us. Joseph, tell us more about this case and the initial order of the court.
And so one of the parties in this particular case was given the green light by the court to proceed to initiate legal processes to take possession of the house to satisfy the debt. And the court was, however, asked to use its powers to set this order aside because the issue that was raised was whether there was a pending request that the court ought to have expected before it proceeded to issue this particular order.
Share with us the documents, the details that the court confronted the registrar with.
So the registrar was asked, there were two documents. The registrar was invited by the court to provide some clarity on them. He told the court that the document that claimed that there was no pending court processes did not emanate from his office since it did not bear his signature. For the other document, the registrar told the court that it had a stamp and signature and hence it emanated from his office. When asked who is responsible for issuing such documents, the registrar said he was the one authorized to do so. The court now checked the official court records capturing the proceedings and interestingly found that, strangely, the unsigned and unstamped document was rather a true reflection of the state of affairs, and that the document that the registrar had signed and stamped was rather not a reflection of the state of affairs.
And finally, Joseph, what happens to this registrar and to the case?
The regional administrative officer of the Judicial Service at Tamale has been asked to refer the conduct to the Chief Justice for investigations to be undertaken. And we understand that that will be carried out for the investigation to take place.
That's Joseph Akablay. He's a legal affairs correspondent, furnishing us with some details of situation at the Tamale High Court. Let's go back to Parliament now, and the chairman of the Lands and Natural Resources Committee says the decision by the ranking member on the committee, Al-Hassan Sihini, to disclose details of the committee's closed-door sitting to the public will be reported to the Speaker. Francis Menu Adabo views his move as a betrayal, saying it violates the committee's operating procedures. Al-Hassan Sihini, MP for Tamale North, informed the media on Monday that the Chief Director of the Lands Ministry, Professor Patrick Agbesinyale, indicated to the committee that the state has been contracting the services of some land guards to reclaim and safeguard public lands. In exchange, these land guards are compensated with parcels of land. But the chairman of the committee, Francis Minu Adabo, says what Mr. Suhini did was wrong.
The committee is a committee of parliament, and we had a referral from the Speaker of Parliament. So it's the Speaker that we can report to, no other person, until we finish with that report. Any information that comes out of that committee work is a betrayal. We don't have to break any news. We need to send the report to Speaker. And all these findings, if they are actually true, the Speaker will direct us what to do. We didn't go to do any investigation on our own. So we don't have to break any news from that committee work to the public without reporting first to the Speaker. I don't have to break any news because I've sworn oath of secrecy. Everything that comes out of a committee work, we must report to the Speaker at the plenary for discussion. And if anything is in that message report that people don't understand, they can file for a question. They can file anything in Parliament for redress. But you don't take any information from our committee work to the press without reporting first to the Speaker.
Right.
So I cannot speak to it until I finish with my report.
Okay, but then what happens then to this member of the committee who's already come out to the press?
The speaker will determine, because we have to make complaint to the speaker.
So you had the chairman of Parliament's Lands and Natural Resources Committee, Francis Dabo, speaking to my colleague Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson there. Well, Mr. Al-Hassan Suhini has defended his move. He says he will go ahead to file an urgent question demanding the lands minister be hauled before the House.
I have breached nothing. There's nothing in our standing orders that says that one cannot speak about happening on the committee before the committee finishes its report. Mind you, the committee of parliament is to be held in public. In fact, the sitting of the entire parliament is supposed to be held in public, and that is why you have the public gallery. And so there is nothing that is hidden about the work of parliament. And there are no timelines to, make public any discussions of parliament, unless anyone can point out to me any standing order or any law that has been breached in this case. I have personally filed an urgent question in parliament for the minister to brief the nation and, for that matter, parliament.
Al-Hassan Suhini is deputy ranking member of Parliament's Lands and Natural Resources. Now, 3 vehicles, including a Toyota Land Cruiser belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, have been stolen by gunmen under strange circumstances in the Ashanti region. The separate incidents that took place last year are yet to be resolved by the police. Updating the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament on progress of work done on the matter, Managing Director of the ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, said he's giving up on finding the vehicles. Listen to the interaction between him and members of the committee.
Reported the matter to the police. We have assisted the police in their investigations. They are going to wrap up and then advise us accordingly.
When was the last time you contacted the police for any updates?
Say about 4 months ago, my director legal made contact with the Ghana police to find out the status of the investigation.
How does it get missing? That somebody came to the yard or came to the house of somebody and took the vehicles away?
Sir, the full investigative report is not here, but it was taken from the person at gunpoint.
Vehicles?
Yes.
All the 3 at gunpoint?
Yes.
That must be a very, very big coincidence. At the same time?
At different times, not at the same time, not all at the same time.
But none of the drivers were hurt?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Very interesting. Are those who were in charge of those vehicles still working with you?
They are still with ECG.
And then you've given them other vehicles?
I do not think they drive anymore, but they are with ECG.
Okay. Are there other places that you lost some?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
So this is a point I want to make. Now, in Ashanti region, that is Ashanti SBU, 3 vehicles were taken from the drivers at a gunpoint. Is it coincidental or what?
It didn't happen on the same day. It happened around different times. There's time space in between.
In different locations?
In different locations, yes. I think 2 of them were at gunpoint and the vehicle was parked at home.
Okay.
Where I sit as the managing director, I'll just say I am not looking forward to receiving those vehicles again. I am just waiting for the final report of the Ghana Police Service on the matter.
So there was an interaction between the managing director of the ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, and some members of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee when he appeared before it. Let's stay with the Public Accounts Committee because the Bank of Ghana is admitting it will post significant losses in the yet-to-be-released 2022 financial statement. Responding to issues before the committee, Governor Dr. Ernest Addison said the domestic debt exchange program by government is to blame for the anomaly.
The reason being the domestic debt exchange that the government had to undertake. As you're aware, most of the assets on the bank's books are lending to government in various instruments. So there has been a lot of work being done by the auditors in trying to assess the impact of the exchange on the books of the bank. And as we recently pointed out, we had to write to the Minister of Finance to notify him of the delay. As you're aware, again, the domestic debt exchanges ended, was it last week? The cocoa bills and the dollar-denominated bills. They were only settled last week. So all of these have an impact on the Bank of Ghana's accounts.
I'm told somewhere that your loss this time for 2022 were around 50 billion. Is it true?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think you should allow us to publish their accounts, and you can invite us again.
Well, it's something that I've heard from the grapevine, so I just want the confirmation.
I can confirm that we will make a significant loss in 2022.
Significant loss?
Significant loss, yeah.
So what I've heard is not far from the truth.
Yeah.
You heard the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, when he appeared before Parliament Public Accounts Committee. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. Just gone by, trial of Asin North MP James Jachikwason to proceed as High Court rules there is no order from any superior court stopping it from hearing the matter. And still to come. Alan Tremantin's campaign team petitions the leadership of the NPP to hold the Delegates Congress at a centralized location to ensure transparency.
Centralize it at the national level. I must say that I'm a strong advocate for such proposal. It's something that I'm planning to table through petition.
Grateful that you stayed with us here on the Midday News, and Mubarak is here with the latest from the world of sports.
Thank you very much, Bernice. And the Black Queens will book a slot in the next round of qualifiers for the 2024 Olympic Games should Guinea fail to overturn the 3-0 deficit. Ghana recorded the emphatic win in Conakry last Friday, and they hope to complete the double over the Guineans. Head coach Nora Haptel is promising an offensive brand of football this afternoon.
It's in our DNA in Ghana to be very creative, to have ball possession, to play offense, to take the initiative in the offense. But also there you need to know which spaces you can find against his opponent. We try to create a high rate of chances. Our XG factor, so what we put then in the goal out of these chances can still be developed much more.
Yeah, so to Asante Kotoko and Burkina Bay coach Seydou Zebo has revealed plans to report the club to FIFA over their refusal to settle salaries owed him. Zebo was sacked as head coach in March after a run of poor results. It is understood he is owed for 3 months, and attempts to get the club to pay have not been successful. Back to you, Bernice.
Thank you, Mubarak. Now to some other stories here on the Midday News. The Ghana National Fire Service says at least 280 people were rescued from floods in the Kumasi metropolis in June 2023 alone. According to the service, most victims in flood-prone areas were trapped in their homes after heavy rains. Recent rains flooded most areas in Kumasi, claiming at least 9 lives. Nana Boache Yadom has been exploring the development and has more in the following report.
In the Ashanti region, Ohim, Sewua, Ebuakwa Asenemaso, Tafo Inshayeso, Hiawu Bisianse and Sapase are among flood-prone communities. Residents experience heavy flooding anytime there is a downpour. The flood breaks down walls and inundates homes.
When it rains, you will regret. When the place gets flooded, we run away from our homes.
Something like that, but we don't know what is the cause of the water this time around. It will be flowing. Before we realize it will come back to this particular area. In fact, it's a problem to us over here. We need help.
According to the fire service, 280 victims of flood were rescued in June alone. Regional Communications Director DO3 Peter Ade says some victims are trapped in their homes and others from the outskirts.
That happened in Tafu, Inshiaesu, Bisiansi, Sepasi, and many other places.
Peter Ade says the fire service remains on standby to rescue victims as the rains come down heavily.
If you are trapped in any flood situation, the best institution to call is fire service to come in to rescue you.
For Joy News, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
And that was for our Floods of Trauma series. To some politics now, the Alan Tremantin campaign team has petitioned the leadership of the governing NPP to hold the August 26 Special Delegates Congress at a centralized location in the interest of transparency. The party will hold the Congress to limit the 10 presidential aspirants to 5 in accordance with the dictates of its constitution. And this is ahead of the November National Delegates Congress to select a presidential candidate. Former MP for Menchia North, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, tells Joy News Team Alan is against the decentralized process proposed by the party.
And the proponents of those saying that we should centralize it at the national level, I must say that I'm a strong advocate for such proposal. It ensures more transparency, accountability, and security.
So meaning you want all the delegates, those who qualify to participate in this special Congress, you want all them to congregate at one spot for the election?
Yes. Yes. In that the number is not overwhelming. You have less than 1,000 delegates converging in one place. Even at the National Delegates Conference, which the number is even more than 5,000, we converged at one place. I mean, to ensure a free, fair, and fair election, I think that is the way to go.
Have you formalized this proposal? Have you brought this to the attention of the National Executive for consideration?
Grave concern to absolute majority of the party people. I think conduct your own survey. You will know that it is very popular proposal at the base of the party, and we feel that if the leadership would listen, I mean, it will go a long way to shape and prepare the party for 2024 general elections.
Collins Owusu-Amankwa is a member of Mr. Alan Tremantin's campaign team. He was speaking to my colleague Elton Brobe. While in the Volta region, the former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Tremantin has been speaking to delegates in Akachi North, Akachi South, and Ketu North.
And there are 10 of us who are contesting. If it was only Volta region that was going to vote, I know I'm already president. If it is only Volta, but there are 10 of us. You have to choose one. And all the 10 people who are contesting, they are all very noble and worthy sons of MPP. That is why I will never go anywhere and insult any of our contestants.
You heard Mr. Alan Tremantin there. He's hoping to be the NPP's flag bearer for the 2024 elections. Well, another aspirant, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has cautioned delegates not to vote for anybody claiming to be richer than others. Speaking to delegates as he toured the Ashanti region, he said he has experience over all his contenders and should be given the nod to lead the party. He further argues that the race is about policies and not a rich man's contest.
As we go for the presidential primaries, we need someone who can reclaim power for us, not just anybody. We need a selfless leader to lead the party and not a rich man.
Our track record, our experience, our ideas, innovative ideas, sad qualities, na all here in the president. And yes, always seek.
That's Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the party has opened parliamentary nominations for 137 orphan constituencies, and already there's a mad rush for forms. There's Deputy Director of Communications at the Presidency, Jefferson Saki, Deputy Minister for Tourism, Marco Kwekumante, also joining the race to contest in their constituencies. Let's listen to them.
Revitalize the base of our party, and the ultimate agenda is to recapture the seats from the National Democratic Congress. Unfortunately, in the 2020 elections, we lost it from them. I can confidently tell you that we are going to do everything possible to, recapture this seat in the 2024 elections.
We have a lot of work to do. The candidate gradually has become unpopular in the constituency, whilst President Akufo-Addo was winning. And so with this premise, I can say that they need a new face. They need somebody with some fresh ideas, some new energy to reignite the whole environment. And the person is myself.
You heard Deputy Director of Communication at the Presidency, Jefferson Saki, and Deputy Minister of Tourism, Makokwe Kumante, when they picked nomination forms to contest for the Member of Parliament for 137 orphan constituencies. And before we go, music producer and rapper Kemenya says life experiences led him to find God, and he's now committed to using his music to changing lives. He's been speaking to Andy Dusty on Hits FM.
Kemenya was a group.
What's the meaning of Kemenya?
At first, we used to say, "Don't you know?" But when I grew in the Lord and understood the name better, Kemenya, that means open and you will know.
So, what? Are you a Christian now?
Yes, sir.
I see. When did that start?
Oh, not too long ago.
How did you see the light?
I saw the light through what I went through and the few friends I had. Yeah. And some of them showed me the light, and I had to follow that path.
Why? What happened to you?
I went down a bit in life, in understanding what I was and what I was meant for. And I think now the path is really clear now because of the light.
Were you into vices? To what you were smoking? You were drinking?
I used to.
That's music producer and rapper Kemenya speaking to Andy Dusty. Then that's how we end this edition of the Midday News. Our top story: trial of Asin North MP James Dachikwesin to proceed as High Court rules there's no order from any superior court stopping it from hearing the matter. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more news, including physician assistants declare strike from July 19 over discrimination. I'm Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. Thanks for your company. Do stay. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil.